Welcome to a new episode of Date Like a French Woman. This is Murielle Fellous, your host, and today we are going to talk about lies. After April Fool's, it's a must, I think. But before we do that, I wanted to remind you that every Thursday at 6:30 Pacific time, p.m., yeah, not in the morning, guys, no. 6:30 Pacific time, 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. That's the correct version. We do a Facebook Live session on my Facebook page, and it is often related to what we talk about in the podcast because we sometimes do processes that you can do with me so that you can actually benefit from the teaching on an experiential level. And other times we talk about other things, and you can also ask questions, interact, put comments, all that. So if you feel like being part of that, just join us on Thursday, this coming Thursday. We're going to talk about lies too. We will be doing an inner process. So lies. Do you frequently attract guys who lie to you in your dating life? If that's the case, then it means that something in you resonates with lies. Because the outer world is always a reflection of the inner world. And that is true on two levels. First, on a brain level, as I have talked about it before, there is a part of our brain that is called the reticular activating system, which acts as a filter. There is so much information at any point in the world that our brain is not capable of processing it all. So in order for us to function normally, our brain has this part, the RAS, the reticular activating system, which will literally make us aware of anything that is relevant to our beliefs, our models of the world, all our unconscious parameters, and literally delete anything that doesn't tie with that. Which means that if you constantly attract liars, for example, that means that you have something in your parameters that resonates with maybe men are all liars or something like that. Some kind of parameter that would be coherent with attracting liars. And you could have 10 trustworthy guys in front of you, honest, you wouldn't even see them. I'm not joking. It is a scientific fact that you can see something with your eyes, but it can be deleted so that your brain does not become aware of it, does not process it. So that's on a brain level. Now, on an energy level, I often speak about our energy frequency being like an elevator. And based on what level you are vibrating at, you will stop at a certain floor and you will be matched with situations, people, and events that vibrate at the same frequency. And that may seem very new agey, very woo-woo, but science is also backing up that. Because the way, and I'm going to be a little bit technical right now, but for you to understand that it's not just, like I said, a new age concept, but it's based in scientific reality. The way it works is that every time we have a thought, there is a part of our brain that is lighting up, and that can be observed in brain imagery because nowadays we have the means to do that, to observe the way our brain is functioning. So you have a thought, a part of your brain is lighting up, and that is the result of your brain creating clusters of photons. And the photons are the units of light. So as soon as you think something, clusters of light units are created, and those photons clusters generate an electromagnetic field, of course, very, very small. And that also can be observed. We have nowadays machines called magnetoencephalogram scanning machines. And that measures that measures the electromagnetic field in our brain. And those electromagnetic fields generated by the photons give birth to some frequency. It's called frequency coded train of information, and it's in fact an FM wave, just like a radio. So thoughts literally create frequency waves, FM waves, that can be measured. And just as when you tune your radio on a certain frequency, you can receive what is broadcasted at that frequency. You are broadcasting all day long with your thoughts. And you are matched with whatever is broadcasting, is resonating with that frequency. So if you encounter liars, that means that on some level, your frequency resonates with lies. I hope it makes sense. And if you want to ask me questions or if you have comments, you can also go on my Facebook page and put comments about that. So you somehow have parameters that create that reality. That's the first thing to know. The second thing to know is if we are talking about lies, and without even relating it to our dating life yet, I was coaching a client last week and we were exactly talking about that, because any kind of lie that you are going to make will have a consequence. A lie is almost like a liability, something that costs you something. When you lie, even if it's a white lie, like we call it, let's say you're late somewhere and you just invent a reason, you always register what you are doing. And when you observe yourself lying, there is a part of you that feels guilty. And I don't know if you ever noticed when you lie to someone, the energy of the lie can be felt in the body, because the body is like an antenna. You can trick yourself in your mind, in your brain, but you cannot trick your body. So let's say you lie to someone, be very aware of what's going on in your body. Most of the time there is a contraction, very often in the stomach or in that area. There is some kind of discomfort, because lies are the opposite energy from the life force energy. That's the opposite energy. It's not encouraging, it's not sustaining life. And that's why you're going to experience, in a way or another, some kind of a bad feeling in your body if you are connected to your body, because people are very often very disconnected and they don't even know what they feel. So even white lies have a consequence. You know you're guilty, and the result of feeling guilty about something will be that you will feel that you deserve less. It makes you less of a good person, and it can be very, very minimal, especially if it's a small lie. Some kind of, you know how some people believe that lies to keep the peace are worth saying. I think that there is always a way to say the truth in a loving way. And even if it's going to upset the other person, if you want to have any kind of authentic relationship, you have to be truthful. Of course, it doesn't mean that you have to tell every little secret of your life to everybody. No. But when we're talking about the way to relate to someone, tell the truth. The second thing I wanted to address about the lies that we make, the lies that we say, is the biggest lie of all. And that is something that everybody does. Everybody does. At a level or another. Everybody has this feeling, this somehow unconscious belief that we are not fully lovable. That we don't deserve the best because we are not, it can be beautiful enough, young enough, successful enough, thin enough, fat enough. Pick yours. We are not blank enough. And in order for you to realize the importance of letting go of that lie, I would like to propose to you to do a very quick exercise. So take a deep breath, close your eyes, put your hand on your heart, and bring into your mind's eye an image of you as a child. See an image of you at an age where you were so beautiful and cute and lovable. I'm going to give you a few seconds to do that. Remember maybe a picture or remember in your memories how innocent, beautiful, totally lovable you were. And now tell that little girl, my dear, and say your name. My dear, I'm going to use my name, Murielle. I want you to know that you don't deserve the best in life. You don't deserve love. You don't deserve success. And you cannot have everything that you want. Because you see, you're not whatever enough. Young enough, beautiful enough. What you're not enough is. And feel what it would do to that girl. If you have done the exercise and you really went into it, you feel something very yucky in your body. Who would do that to a child? Who would abuse this vulnerable part of yourself, this vulnerable being, this beautiful, innocent child? Unfortunately, it is a lie that we repeat over and over and literally on a daily basis. Every time we bring a thought of not being enough in a way or another, that's what we do to this part of us, this inner, vulnerable, innocent, tender part of ourselves. And it works in very mysterious ways, how we can relate to that part of us, that little child in us. But this little child in us will be with us all our life. And this little child in us, when it's abused and not attended and not loved enough, it will literally self-sabotage any area of our life. So in dating particularly, if you bully yourself in that way, you will see that this part of yourself will run your dating show very often. This is what happens when, let's say, you date a guy and you know he's not for you and you know you need to leave him. You know it's like a drug addiction. You know it's bad. You know you need to leave. It's not good for you. But there is a part of you that's freaking out like crazy, that cannot bear the idea of being abandoned. That's the little girl in you. And I know personally I could feel that in my relationships at a certain point, until one day I realized what it was. And I put my hand on my heart and I calmed her down. And I was able to make the decision I had to make with way more peace. And see that part of yourself panicking and going crazy in so many areas of your life, when you're going to be rejected, when you're going to be abandoned. You just have to do one thing: put your hand on your heart and reassure her that everything is okay. So I'm going to ask you a question now. Are you ready to let go of that lie that in some form or another you are not enough? Because if you attract people who lie to you, you lie in some way or another. Do you lie to the world or do you lie to yourself? And if you lie to yourself, it's time to let it go. Make a promise to that vulnerable part of yourself that it is over, that you will be stopping that abuse from now on. And give the instruction to your brain, because the brain is a magnificent machine. When you have an intention, it will help you. It's just a question of putting the right instructions in there. So put the instruction of becoming aware of when do you lie to yourself by telling yourself that you are not enough, either by comparing yourself to others or by literally say, oh my God, how fat I am, when you look at yourself in the mirror, or I'll never be able to do that, or all those lies that you have been practicing until now. Become aware of it and let them go. Because that little girl in you can have whatever she wants. She deserves it. She's enough. I really would like to get some feedback if you want, just on my Facebook page or more privately on my website at contact@datelikeafrenchwoman.com, and let me know what you felt. Let me know if you were able to feel that, or if you're so numb that you were not even able to do that. And if that's the case, I really encourage you to join our experiential processes, because you will not get unstuck by knowing in your head on an intellectual level. The only way you're going to progress is by doing. As we know, knowing doesn't change your life. Doing will do the trick. I hope it helps, and I wish you a lot of letting go with anything that doesn't serve you. If you are listening to my podcast and you enjoy it, please go on iTunes and leave us some feedback or some rating. I would really appreciate that. And I will see you in a week with another subject. Have a wonderful and loving week.